All right, so I'm going to go into this a little bit. I'm going to hit the wild blueberry for a little bit. You guys got a couple of minutes on this? Try to keep it as interesting as possible. Right there, okay? The Canadian wild blueberry, or the Maine wild blueberry, right? And this right here is the ultimate to use in your heavy metal detox. It's this. It's the best one to use. Now, if you can't get a hold of this one here, which is the wild blueberry, North America, if you can't get a hold of it, I always say you can do blackberries. But blackberries can only remove a little bit of metal, little bit from the intestinal tract. And the blackberries don't even have to be wild. Now, all wild berries out there, like wild raspberries, wild bilberry, has a little bit, some capabilities of removing a little bit of toxic heavy metals out of the intestinal tract, but can't remove them out of the brain, can't remove them out of the liver, can't remove them deep out of the organs. And that's the difference. Now, if you don't have access to the wild blueberry, Angustifolium, that one, if you don't have access to those wild blueberries, and you got to use another blueberry, or another different kind of berry, or a wild blueberry or something like that, because there are wild blueberries out there. And the wild blueberry, let's go into it a little bit, okay? European blueberry is not this variety of wild blueberry. It's the bilberry. It's really important to know. Now, there are bilberries in the US, there's bilberries in Canada, there's bilberries in Maine, there's bilberries out there, and I have access to bilberry, but I've never put bilberry in here. So I want people to know this. This is important because I think what happened is over time, because there wasn't access to this variety of wild blueberry, I think people are just putting any wild berry they can find in there, and I got respect for that because guess what? That's good. That's good. Put in any wild berry you can get in there. I like the blackberries, and if you can get a wild blackberry, then that is the ultimate. It's not going to do what the wild blueberry does. Angustifolium is not going to do what that does. But it's important to know because what happens out there is then people are just like, whoa, I'm doing it up. Like I'm doing it exactly the way it should be. And what they don't realize, if the bilberry's in here, it's not exactly the way it should be, but still, sure. If that's all you got, then do it. But you're really running on 4 ingredients if you don't have the wild blueberry. If you're using a bilberry, then your heavy metal detox is only running on 4 ingredients, not 5. That's all. And I always say 3 out of the 5. Get 3 out of the 5. So if you're somebody and you're doing the heavy metal detox somewhere, anywhere in the world, and you're putting a raspberry in there, the wild raspberry, or you're putting a wild bilberry in there, or you're putting a wild blackberry in there, that's good. It's got a lot of nutrients for other reasons. It's got healing properties for other things, but it doesn't remove the metals deep within the organs and deep within the brain and deep where it needs to be. So you're running really 4 out of 5. And if you're somebody that only has cilantro, you call it coriander, you got cilantro, and then you got dulse, and then you got, say, spirulina, that's 3. It's still going to help. But to get maximum pull, you want the 5. The 5. You need the cilantro. You need the Angustifolium, the wild blueberry. I know in Europe they'll call it European blueberry. That's bilberry. And I know there are wild blueberries, but they're very hard to get. They're very hard to get in Europe. You can't get them. They're very hard to find, and you can't get them. So everybody's relying on the bilberry out there. And that's fine. You can put bilberry in there. You can definitely put bilberry, you can put blackberry in there, you can put a huckleberry in there. You can put those in there, but you're not at the maximum pull to actually get the metals deep out of the organs, right? You're running 4 out of 5 ingredients. And look, companies have also tried to market the bilberry so much so They say that the North American, wild blueberry, they say that the wild blueberry from Canada is cultivated. There's companies out there now so hungry and so money hungry to hop on the heavy metal detox ride that they'll actually say that the wild blueberry, Angustifolium, in the United States or in Canada is actually cultivated. That is not true. This is a wild food and it's not cultivated. That's an important thing I want to clear up because I've seen that out there. And the wild blueberry has more antioxidants than the bilberry. So I want to cover that for a minute. That's really important here, okay? So there are some rumors out there being spread because that's how it is. Because people want to sell the crap out of their bilberry. I get it. Everybody's trying to survive out there. I get it. But they want to sell the crap out of their bilberry so much so that they will say that the bilberry is higher in antioxidants than the wild blueberry, the Angustifolium, Canada, in the US, and they're wrong. They're wrong. They are dead wrong. This wild blueberry right here, the Angustifolium, has higher antioxidants than any bilberry. Fact. But you see, they'll spin it. Everybody spins whatever they want to do. That's what they do. They spin it all. Oh, our bilberries are higher than the wild blueberry. No, it's not. It may be higher than a cultivated blueberry, like a regular cultivated blueberry. It may be higher than that. They grow a lot of cultivated blueberries in Poland. Maybe it's higher than that one. Maybe it's higher than another one that's cultivated, but not the Angustifolium, not the wild food that's sitting in front of me. So I want to clear some of these things up. It's okay if you're running 4 out of 5. It's okay if you're running 3 out of 5. And that's all you got. You only got some barley grass juice powder, or you only got some spirulina and some cilantro and maybe some dulse. And that's the 3 you run because that's all you got. Then make that smoothie or make that smoothie bowl with those 3 things. Okay, guys? You can do that. But ideally, if it comes your way someday or you're somewhere and you have it and you can do all 5, that takes it to another level. That's when it's at maximum right there. Cilantro, spirulina, barley grass juice powder, dulse, wild blueberries. Like wild blueberries. Not what they call wild blueberry, a bilberry. No, not that. Wild blueberries. Bilberries grow differently than a wild blueberry. Bilberries grow in small amounts, very spread out. So I question a lot of bilberry products out there because you can't harvest enough of it to meet a demand, which means it's questionable to what else is in there.